Hey everyone, this is Shane from Read the Wonder on YouTube. First, I just made this video, just made it, and am now redoing it because I like to have a little bit of music in the background, both for myself and just to cover any blank space, which with me you don't get a lot of because I ramble. So I'm going to be talking about the High Priestess and in my, I don't want to say obsession, but my fascination with women in general, I guess. God. So Tori Amos is what I was playing the whole last video, and I had it down pretty low, but it still came out a lot in the video, and I went through the whole video. It was 30 minutes before watching it, and decided that it was quite a distraction. So now I'm playing some like little flute Norwegian music, which I really like. It helps me to relax at night. And if you can hear it at all, it'll be very light, so I think that'll work. So here we are again, and I am exhausted. I've been working a lot, so my brain is kind of, especially after just doing a video, it's kind of mush, but I'm certainly not going to leave this for another time since I am sitting here with all of my thoughts still. So we'll see how I do. I'm going through it a second time. So first, I guess before we get into that, just a quick ramble. I got a comment from a new subscriber on my channel. I think it was yesterday. It could have been the day before. Days are running together. But I got this comment that said, really liked your video, and Simon recommended your channel, and it was just, my heart leapt with joy. Simon is Simon from the Hermit's Cave here on YouTube. I've watched him for quite a while now, way before I started doing videos, and he has been pretty instrumental in my new tarot path. So I was very honored when I found that out. Okay, so I thought, well, that was so nice, and it must have come up in conversation on Facebook or YouTube possibly, or maybe it is a friend of his, and let that go. And then I think it was this morning, maybe yesterday, another person commented saying the same thing, but this time she said he recommended your channel in his weekly catch-up video, and I was just in shock and stupefied. So I do remember at work starting to watch his catch up, and I think I got 5 minutes in before work called, and I haven't had the chance to watch it. So when I came home tonight, I finally sat down and watched the video and saw his beautiful, wonderful, probably undeserved shout out to me. And I can't tell you, Simon, if you're watching, how honored I am. I've only made a few videos, and really new to this channel stuff and all, and it was just incredible to have you even take notice, and to and then even after taking notice to recommend, and saying such great things about me. So really, truly honored when I watched it tonight and saw you do it. I think I almost cried. So there's that. Enough. So beyond that, High Priestess tonight. Also, I'm gonna be smoking because I smoke, and I have it in my videos, and of course I don't advertise it. It's a terrible habit, but it does calm my nerves, and that's what it does as a cigarette for me. So since I get very nervous on here and start to ramble, and because I went through the whole last video without smoking, screw it. I'm going to have a cigarette, and I apologize if it offends anybody. I'm going to try to keep the smoke out of here. So the High Priestess, a couple reasons I've decided to really take a look at her and talk about her is, I did that video on the Hierophant after it came up with me and Season over on Facebook. She has Alchemy's Arrow on YouTube. We were talking about it, and so I thought, why not do And it stuck with me all day. Why not do a personal reflections on the Hierophant, as it really does um, have very huge connotations for me to my past, and it represents my past, and my dislike of the card stems from my past. So I thought, it'll be a good way for me to really force myself to look at the card and figure out maybe some new meanings that will work better for me in the future. So I did, and it worked. After talking to Season and looking at a few different Hierophant cards and reading a few different texts about it, it helped a lot. Any tarot card can be viewed in more than one, two, or three ways. Still, the same basic symbology, but there are so many different ways of looking at it, so that it has a special meaning for you and a meaning that resonates or works well with you. And that's not to say we can make up our meanings with tarot cards, but the ideas that I had about the Hierophant were all rooted in my own personal issues, and I wasn't allowing myself to step outside of the box that I'm so glad that I got to step out of by joining this tarot community. If I hadn't done that, I'd still be stuck in my own stuff. So that's a blessing. So I did the video on the Hierophant, and the duality there in the major arcana. You have the Empress and the Emperor, and the duality that I see is the Hierophant and the High Priestess. My views are not everybody's views. There are, some of the books I have and some other people recognize the Magician and the High Priestess as the duality, which I totally see. But in my eyes, in my viewpoint at this time, is the Hierophant and the High Priestess. And so I did the Hierophant, and me and Season decided let's do the High Priestess next, since they kind of go together, since I love the High Priestess. She is, without a doubt, my favorite card in the tarot deck. The High Priestess, the Moon, and the Queen of Swords are three of the cards that I look to or at first whenever I am viewing a new tarot deck. They are my go-to cards. So I will say right off the gate here that obviously those three cards all have very strong feminine energies, and I'm a guy, right? But told you I'm very, very tired, so really trying to get my mind around this right now. Let me take a drink. I'm very thirsty too. So I have this, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to say this, because it's hard for me to really put into words, but I have a very strong fascination and beguilement is what I want to say. I am beguiled by women that are strong, independent, brave, outstanding in their fields. I am just captivated by them to a point of stupidity. I'll tell a really quick story of when I met my favorite author. Her name is Jacqueline Carey, and she writes fiction, and it's kind of sci-fi / historical fantasy fiction. But she writes a book called Kushiel's Dart, which turns into quite a long series, but I was just enthralled with the characters and the setting and the book. And this was 15 years ago, I think, that the book came out, and I read the first book. So I was very young, very naive, and I read the book, and I thought, my God, I would love to see this on TV as a movie, So I decided I'd start making this screenplay. Like, I'm going to make this screenplay, and I'm going to make this happen. And I went on to Jacqueline Carey's website, and I wrote her because she was doing a book signing in a city that was really close to me, probably for about a month from when I had wrote her this letter on her website. And I said, this is what I'm doing. Has anybody done this? I'd love to talk to you more about this. Can we have lunch after your book signing? And I'm not even kidding you, it was the next day, one day after, she wrote me back and she said, sure, I'd love to do that. Let's have lunch after the book signing. And I was stupefied. And of course I went to the book signing, and true to her word, as soon as she got done signing, She and her significant other sat down and had lunch with me, and I'll never forgive myself, and I'll never forget it. I was stage fright is the best word for it. I didn't know what to say or how to act or what to ask or how to talk. So she did most of the talking. If I did ask any questions, I don't remember what they were. What I do remember is that she talked to me with a mouthful of sandwich. It was dribbling onto her chin, and she looked like she was just in her realm. She could have been sitting in the middle of her living room with not a soul in sight. She was so comfortable with herself and so in her universe that it even stupefied me more. You know, she is an amazing woman. She's an amazing woman. It was an amazing experience, but again, I'll never forgive myself for not taking advantage of that, for not really having, when I was 18 at the time, what am I going to do? You know, it would be a completely different conversation today, I would hope, but I still have that sense of fright around women, male energies, even males that I look up to or that I admire. I am not frightened by them. They don't intimidate me. And I don't know if it's because I mesh better with the masculine energy or that energy doesn't scare me as much, but there's something about the powerful woman that when exhibited just really derails me. And sometimes it makes me hard to interact with women that I admire, which is very unfortunate, or to be myself around women that I admire. I become just sloppy, sloppy, and like, what am I saying? What am I doing? So that is probably, and if I look back to my past, I can't come up with a good reason for that. So if anybody has any ideas, why in the world am I like that? I'm sure everything stems from my past, the person I am today. And I think the person that anybody is stems from whatever their experiences in the past entail. So something back there is something I can work on to help overcome that, and that's something I want to do. So the High Priestess is then my favorite card in the deck. Of course she is, right? The most powerful woman in the deck is going to be the card that enthralls me. So, there's a little bit on my connection with the High Priestess. On a more symbolic level, tarot card level, of course we have our Rider-Waite High Priestess here. I'm going to try to make this quicker than I did last time. My relationship with this card, I think she's always been my favorite card. I did not need to look at the meaning of this card. I did not need to go have the deck for a year before figuring it out. Immediately drawn to her. And I immediately knew it was all about hidden knowledge and intuition and secrets. And I knew that stuff. And it's not a card that I've ever had to really look up the meaning to be able to read it very intuitively. And that doesn't happen with many of the tarot cards for me. Most of the time I do have to do some research. Of course, after doing research, I've learned a lot more and become much more connected to the High Priestess. And the symbology here is pretty huge. I didn't realize until not very long ago at all that she's not inside. To me, she was always kind of in a temple. But she's actually outside, I believe. We see the sky up here, and what I never noticed is in between the pillars and this veil that she's sitting in front of, there is a body of water here in the background. And then her robe here, her blue robe, turns into water down here, and I had never realized that. I had never taken the time to really look at the cards and what all of these little details could possibly mean. Of course, we have the moon down here that the water is wrapping itself. It's around. And Benabel Wen talks about in holistic tarot the idea of the collective unconscious, and that idea in terms of tarot readings. So what the collective unconscious is, I don't have a definite term for it. I do have holistic tarot. I'm not going to look it up right now. That would take a minute. But this collective unconscious, to me, sorry, I had to pause there for 1 second to listen to something. Um, the collective unconscious. Okay, that's where we're at. The collective unconscious is this idea that, and this is how it is in my mind. I'm going to explain my mind to you, I suppose. Is that all around me, all around us, there is this unconscious wisdom, a wisdom and a knowledge that lies beneath all of us. Is how I look at it, and of course, it's not really at my feet, but that's how it is in my mind. It's lying beneath. It's hidden, all around us, and that we have this ability to tap into that intuition, which to me is that secret hidden knowledge that we all kind of innately know, that we all have somewhere buried deep inside of us. And this idea of a collective unconscious where all of our ideas, the ideas and the truths that span the entire world are roiling, are hidden beneath in this collective unconscious, and all we need to do is tap into that. So in a tarot reading, that would entail both the reader and the seeker taking a moment to attune themselves and to draw into and reach into that collective unconscious and to pull that up and out of both of them, and to put it into the cards that are between them, so that we are connected to the cards, and that the secrets and the mysteries can come out in those cards, because that's what the tarot is about, revealing to us what we find very difficult to see without having a little bit of prompting. So that is really, that is what the High Priestess today really, that's really what she means to me, that idea of ancient mystery, the collective unconscious, in the guarding of that mystery, while the Hierophant represents dogma and a hierarchy of sorts, and very religious leadership. She's the leader of the mystical. To me, she's a mystic. She is a witch. She is a shaman. She is, she is the law of the universe, the law that transcends any god that we think we might know here on earth. She is above that law. She is the law of everything that is, because that's what this intuition and that knowledge, at its end point, that's what it is. So, the High Priestess, what are you gonna say? So I did pull out, just to show that connection, even in other cards, of course, Pagan Otherworlds, we have her toes in the water, which again demonstrates that that link to the unconscious, which is what the water, the water symbolizes, if I could get my words out right. And then here, I guess she could lift her foot out of the water and be unconnected from that unconscious all the time, but she is genuinely, her robe is connected. There is an unbreakable link between her. So the High Priestess, again, to me, is constantly in touch with her intuition, constantly in touch and using that intuition in her everyday life, whereas all of us little mortal human beings can connect to that intuition if we really strive to. It is not something that I myself at least have all the time. I feel very lucky when I feel that I am using my intuition on a very deep level. So, a couple more cards here. We have the Druid Craft, which I just got, thanks to a trade with Season. Thank you, Season. And I resisted the Druid Craft to my detriment for quite a long time because I had the Wildwood. And because Will Worthington drew the art on both of them, I assumed that they were too similar and I didn't need the Druidcraft because I already had the Wildwood, right? Silly, silly, silly. So, for those that don't really know, I mean, the Wildwood is its own deck completely. It doesn't follow the rider rate weight nearly as much as the Druidcraft. It has its connections, but it deals with I mean, it has different meanings, different symbology. You get animals in the court cards, which I think that I will eventually get to and find my connection with them. Right now, I'm not feeling connected to these animals for court cards, so I found it hard to get into the Wildwood. Of course, the court cards in the Druidcraft are typical court cards. I mean, the symbology is very, very similar to the Rider Waite. The meanings are very similar, although there is a different level to the understanding of these cards. I mean, the writers, gosh, what are their names? It's a couple, and I have it right here. Maybe I hate not mentioning them. Philip and Stephanie Carr-Gomm, I believe, are pagan or Druids. They are Druids, or at least he is, and he belongs to an order of Druids of some sort. Don't know much about it. Sorry if I sound foolish. I'm saying what I know. So you have a lot of that influence, which I really like. I'm very drawn to paganism. So she is not. I mean, we see the body of water back here. She is not directly connected to that water, but that's fine. She's calling down the moon, which is just, you know, the moon represents what? Our intuition, our shadow selves. And it's one of the reasons I love tarot. It's one of the reasons I want to use tarot. One of the reasons I want to read, and I do read for other people, is to hopefully uncover, that shadow part of themselves, the parts that they don't see or refuse to acknowledge. I love that. So she's calling upon that knowledge right now in this card. So far, I'm just falling in love more and more with the Druidcraft. And this is the Wildwood, since we're talking about it. And here, I think, I could be wrong, but I believe she is the Seer. I could be totally wrong, but I think she's a Seer in the Wildwood. And a Seer, she certainly looks like she's got a basin of water, which I love. She's using the water as in much the same way. And this is where that idea of the magician and the high priestess being a duality. While he uses, the water is an element, but he uses the four elements on a more materialistic level. She's using water as a pathway to her intuition and to her art. Great card. Of course, I trimmed that one. Trimmed the Llewellyn too. In the last video, I actually talked about the whole story behind this Welsh mythical figure that the priestess is based on. I think her name is Caradwyn, if I'm saying that correctly, but I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to do it. So, this one took me a minute. I love the artwork in the Llewellyn. Look at it. It's fucking gorgeous. I just love it. Love it. So, I had a hard time at first with her because she reminded me of the Empress. Right off the bat, she's in nature. Things look very abundant, very bountiful. She's very connected to the earth, and this is something that you usually see in the Empress card. But taking a closer look, she is very priestess. She's very priestess. She's got the half moon, not half moon, waning moon, on her head. But what I really like about this card, and it's not focusing very well, is that half of her face is in shadow and almost crone-like, and the other half is lit up. And then she's got one of her breasts exposed and the other one veiled. And so one side of her is totally in shadow, while the other side resides in light. She's drawing on the one side. This is the side that she is revealing to the world. And she has no shame in revealing that side of herself. And then she still has this shadow self that is part of her, that she can dive into, that she uses on a daily basis. So really beautiful symbolism and a beautiful card. And I'm not going to show this last one. The last one is from the alchemical, and I really do want to work with the alchemical just because I want to learn. I love that he has all of these, the symbols right on. We got the water symbol. This is the terrible with astrology, guys, but that's why I needed this deck, is to start learning this stuff. So I really got it for that, and because I did like, look at the backs. The backs are gorgeous, and a very cute high priestess. Not sure what she's doing with her finger there, thinking, I don't know, but she's still lovely. I love the colors. I love that she's letting the water carry her. So I really love the card, but right now I'm feeling more drawn, as you can see, to a more mystical kind of. That's why I like more this kind of artwork. I guess that one is kind of a little bit different, but so the High Priestess, that is, it is really a reflection. Again, since I've been talking about my past and really getting started on my tarot journey in relationship to my past, it's very appropriate that my first card interpretation was a Hierophant, because that was my childhood, and that was my fear, and throughout my adult life, that was my fear. And then, the High Priestess was always a part of me that was lying beneath the surface, waiting to reveal herself, waiting for the right moment. And I'm so sorry it took so long. But she is the secret, the wisdom, the intuition, the magical, the wondrous. That throughout most of my life I had felt it was just trapped. And I think I always had the feeling that it was there, and I always felt something more within me, but was very, very terrified, was very afraid to let that out. And to, even though I had walked away from some of my beliefs, I was not ready to look into others out of fear. So the fear that the Hierophant kind of instills in me still, and may instill in other people, I am not letting it today. And I am instead embracing the power of the High Priestess and allowing those mysteries to unfold into my life. If I can say all that. That is what she means to me today. I don't know. I'm sure she will throughout my life take on different meanings, different ideas. But, in essence, I think that is what she will always be to me, is the transition in my belief systems and how I am choosing to interact with my shadow self. Why hide it? Why hide it? Why deny it? Why call it anything but what it is? And that is a part of me. There are nasty, ugly sides of me, and there are in all of us. And the High Priestess is just one of the cards that I believe can help me get to the bottom of that can help me work through that, or accept that. I need an acceptance, and so that's what she means to me today. Anything else? I have one more drink here. My mouth is very dry. If you have any questions, really right now I'm trying to be an open book. So feel free to ask. I forget if it was in this video or in the last one that I said, so I'll say it again, that I really truly believe that the only way for me to gain inner knowledge, or to reveal parts of my shadow self, are for me to be very honest in this kind of setting, with a community that, for the most part, I believe celebrates this type of work and this kind of insight, in this kind of, you know what I'm trying to say. I can't, my thoughts aren't very coherent right now, but I believe that one, for me, there's a lot of inner work that needs to be done, and the tarot is going to help me with that. And there's probably a lot of writing I need to do, a lot of soul searching. But I think the other half of that is really talking to other people and looking for people that will bare their souls, that are willing to have very raw conversations, however uncomfortable it makes any of the people feel. I believe that to really dive into what we are as human beings and what we could be as human beings is to explore each other's thoughts and ideas. None of us have it all. That's where the collective unconscious comes in. It's all there, but we all inhabit a different part of it, I guess I want to say. And becoming real with you, and if people are willing to get real with me, then we can really see other people's ideas. And so that's why I try to be very open. And while I am very open, I in my videos I feel like there's still, I don't know. I'm a very fun guy. And kind of wacky. And as tired as I am, I'm surprised I'm not more silly tonight than I am. Sometimes I break out in random songs. So, there are certain parts of me that I am not allowing to fully express. However honest I'm being, and I think that will change with time. But that is my goal with this YouTube channel, and that is, thank you for everybody that has subscribed and everybody that is watching. And that's another one of my goals is to, God, let's open up, be yourself, share even when it's scary. Do it. The worst that can happen. Maybe some bad. I don't know. We're gonna stop there, but so I hope that everybody is having a great day or a great night. I know we're kind of all over the world, so I don't like to limit it to one, because you could be waking up, I'm going to bed, or trimming my druid craft, or starting to. We'll see. But that is it for tonight. Again, thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a comment with any questions as well that you might have. And again, thanks for watching. Bye bye, guys.